I need a vacation.
Aren't you on one?
No. If I was on one, you'd think I'd be this stressed out? Are you crazy?
Well, have you tried calming down?
I have tried calming down. I don't know how to do that any better.
Have you tried deep breathing?
I've tried deep breathing. I've tried the grounding techniques of like looking at everything and like naming a thing you can see, naming one thing you can smell, one thing you can taste, and one thing you can freaking hear. And all I hear is this music. And it's driving me a little crazy.
You should try meditating. That fixes everything.
Yeah, you know what? You're probably right. So anyway, we're not doing a full episode this week. I am sorry, everybody. I'm sorry. But for Pete's sake, a man needs a break now and then. But we couldn't leave you with nothing. So Adam and I have been talking. We've been talking about the episode a couple weeks ago, cult hopping. And to me, that seemed like we got a good response out of it. It seemed like a lot of people were interested in that. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then on the Wagey stream,
it's at least endlessly fascinating to me.
Yeah. Well, on the Wagey stream last week, we watched Going Clear, which is about Scientology. And that was a huge hit. A lot of people really enjoyed that. And if you don't know what the Wagey stream is, it's just a private stream I do for the Telegram. There's not that many people that come, and it's not even publicly facing. It's unlisted. You can't search it on Rumble. And the episodes aren't even labeled. But I did do a stream on Going Clear, and it was clear to me that people found this very interesting. And I felt like we should talk about it, at least for a little bit, because you and I have been thinking about this stuff for a very, very, very long time.
Yeah. I think obviously our interest in cults is not so much in the sort of shock value that a lot of people get into cults about. At least for me, I'm more interested in understanding the mechanics of it and how it works and how it doesn't really matter what coat of paint you put on it. It's always the same program. You know, we talked briefly last week about, or not last week, but on the cult hopping episode about cryontology, which is what we named the woke mind virus, because, you know, it operates in the same way as Scientology, Jehovah's Witnesses, Heaven's Gate, any of the others. They always have this like through line, this base program they run. And it's basically the greatest psychological hack that you can put on a person, or like one of the most effective to control a mass of people. And we just wanted to break it down further because we got into it on that episode, and I felt like we left some things on the table that we needed to resolve.
Yeah, I agree with you. As far as this being a developed technology of control, this is something that religious figures and cult leaders and people of that ilk have sort of vibed out for hundreds, thousands of years even. And it got weaponized and sort of almost industrialized in the 21st century, in the 20th and 21st century, where it was governments trying to figure out what was it that made people respond religiously to things that were clearly absurd, which is insane to think about. But now that we're living in a world where it's pretty clear that most governing bodies, whether it's a religious or a political nature, use these techniques in order to keep people inside. And I know that sounds spooky, but just as advertising from the early 20th century looks silly to us now, and what we have now is just looks like a psyop, like MK Ultra, like science project. We look at early cult stuff and we go, oh, that looks awfully like the framework for what we see now across our culture in a way that's Kind of shocking. You have some clips for us, though. Would you like to go right into those?
Real quick, there were a couple of things that I wanted to mention. Number one was after the episode, we had talked about like we need to draw a distinction between a cult and a religion.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people, they would classify the difference as just the number of people that are a part of it. And to that, I say no. It doesn't have to do with numbers. It has to do with the base program, like I've talked about. It's an oppressive and debilitating system of thinking that can have a Jesus coat of paint on it. It can have a Muhammad coat of paint on it. It can have a Xenu coat of paint on it.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll talk a little bit about that differentiation, but I think it's pretty obvious when we go through, like we did go through these elements of destructive cults that I took from the book Cults Inside Out. There is a very real difference. So it might sound a lot of times like we're talking about religion and cults as if they're the same thing, and we fully recognize that they are not.
They're clearly not. Yeah.
They're clearly not. And I forgot what my second point was that I was going to talk about.
Let me add something about that. There's a lot of attempts to differentiate what is the difference between a religion and a cult, and people say, oh, it's the like one that I've heard a lot is the difference between a religion and a cult is that in a cult that the leader and founder of the cult is still alive, and in a religion they're dead. And that's funny.
That's a good distinction. Yeah.
It's funny, and it's like, but it's not the whole picture, because I think religion, generally speaking, is usually grounded in things that are, generally speaking, considered good. And a cult is something that weaponizes people's good intentions around these things and uses it as a system of control. And the reason that both religion and cult can sort of meld into one another a lot of the time is because they are connected to those really root things about being a person who's trying to pursue maybe a more spiritually healthy path. It's just one side says, oh, ho, ho, you would like me to loan you money? How about 10% interest? It takes more out of you than you get from it, I guess. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it's obviously okay. So to put it even simpler, and maybe you can help me out with this analogy a bit, but I think of religions as like major brands that are all selling you, let's say, sodas. A cult is a monopoly, and it's a contained monopoly.
Yeah, it's a closed monopoly.
It's the only thing that's available to purchase, and that's how they want it.
Yeah, they don't want a company store.
Yeah, they don't want you to have access or knowledge of other brands. They would just want you to drink the sport drink.
Yeah.
Right?
Hey. I just took a sip of sport drink. How dare you? How dare you question our leader? Oh, lime, no yellow 5 lemon lime or whatever. The classic.
You're one of those.
I'm basic, Adam.
You should get red pilled and have the blue flavor.
Maybe next time. But so to get into this, do you want to do the funny one right up front?
Yeah, let's do this classic clip. It's a good illustration of what it's like when you're talking to somebody who's in a cult.
Brother, may I have some oats? No. I am starving, brother. As am I, brother. The tall, skinny figure has thrown the oats at me. Me, brother. I believe they have taken a liking to me. No, brother. I have seen this before. I have observed many things. From the roaring beast that the tall, skinny figures crawl inside of to travel far beyond the horizon, to how the figure wept when the other had fallen into a deep sleep. And from my experiences, I have learned that they will give extra oats to one of us before taking them into the shed of no return. They will do terrible things in that shed, brother. Lies! That shed is where the chosen ones go to dine with our tall, skinny gods. You are a fool, brother, and you shall be left behind in the mud with your backwards ideas. No, brother. you must believe me. Share with me the oats, and you shall not reach the desired girth for the tall, skinny ones. They will spare your life, brother. Aha! So this was all a plan to steal my oats. You truly are despicable, brother. I will not trust your lies. Brother, when they took me outside the reaches of the pointy fences, into the roaring beast and way over the horizon, I saw it. I was taken to a gathering of these tall, skinny figures. They paraded me around, brother, and I saw the truth. I saw the tall, skinny ones consuming our flesh. I could not have been mistaken, brother. The smell of the flesh was surely one of us. They suspended the flesh above a fire and let it burn before consuming it. They did not just consume it either, brother. They took pleasure from this. Their mouths curved a wicked smile, and some even let out moans of satisfaction from consuming our flesh, brother. The figures are consumers, brother. They are no different than the furry red demon that consumed and terrorized us and the feathered ones. Your story amuses me, brother, but does not convince me. I shall have these oats myself and dine with the tall, skinny gods. I am sorry for you, brother. Your eyes cannot take the blinding light of the truth, and you scurry back to your cave. I shall take care of your spawn once they consume you, brother, as they have consumed your lover, our father, our mother, and many more.
The channel is
Classic.
Burial Goods. Follow Burial Goods. He does this kind of stuff all the time. Now,
So, a couple notes about this. Yes, it's funny, and yes, the pigs are huge, and that's hilarious. But I think one of the key elements of this is it's a closed society with its own language, right? So they talk about tall, skinny beasts, or tall, skinny ones, and the roaring beasts that they ride in, and all this, the shed of the eternal, or whatever. It only makes sense to the pigs in the pen. It doesn't make sense from the outside. So that's part of why this works so well, is because it's real.
yeah, the humor is you don't know exactly what they're talking about. You have to sit there and think, oh, the giant red thing. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Well, you remember like Watership Down, right?
Yeah.
And how they had the rabbits in that story had different words for like human things. Like they had, like, they called cars like hrududoos or something.
Right.
Because that's what it sounded like when it rumbled down the road. And actually, Watership Down is a really good analogy for what it's like to live in one of these closed societies. I think those are my major notes about this. That's why I brought it as an example that was kind of funny. Is this, and the one that does see the truth, he can't get through to the one that is still in it.
Yes.
Your story amuses me, brother. You know?
Yeah, well, and then there's the other added part of this that I'd point out, which is that there's an incentive structure already in place to keep them from leaving. Like the one guy's seeking the truth, but he's also seeking a few oats so he doesn't die of starvation or whatever. And the other guy's like, oh, you're just trying to steal my oats. You just want to be close to the tall, skinny ones before me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's set up that way. And it's... You think about, like, in Going Clear and hearing about the Sea Org, the kind of things that people did to impress L. Ron Hubbard on the ship. Unreal. And you're like, how did you fall for this? How did you do this? It's so stupid. You're wearing a sailor costume and trying to impress an old man who's, like, insane. And they're like, well, you know, it seemed like the right thing at the time.
Oh, there were a lot of elements behind that, especially on LRH's ship. Again, closed, isolated society. Everybody goes up through the ideals of the cult leader. That's one thing that some Scientologists have talked about. Like, the more time you spend in the cult, the more you think like L. Ron Hubbard. Like, it sounds obvious, but It's literally like a transformation of your thought patterns into the program that was invented by the cult leader. And I think, with LRH, like, again, one of the most, I think the most published author in history. He's so good at spinning stories that he would naturally be excellent at lying to everyone, including himself.
Right, right. That's one thing that I noticed in Going Clear, watching it this time around on the stream, was that, yeah, he had to believe some of this. There's no way he knew the entire time that it was a scam. He himself figured out later on that it was a scam, but the money was too good for him to back out.
Yeah.
At least that's what it seemed like to me.
Well, that's one element too, that like LRH was so desperate to avoid reality. And I think that's what a lot of people who fall into cults, why they do it, is because they're facing major existential questions that they don't have answers for. And fortunately, there's this guy that just happens to know everything.
Yeah.
Oh, and the answer is very complicated. You can ask him all the questions in the world. He's still got an answer for it. And it's your fault if you don't understand it.
Yeah, that's a really important point. If you don't get it, you're just not looking hard enough. Which is why frequently when you see people getting out of certain cults, they end up knowing more. Like I think of Bryce Blankenagel of Naked Mormonism. He knows more about Mormonism than probably most Mormons.
Yeah.
Like it becomes kind of an obsession. And you would hear it all the time from like atheists. They know their Bible better than most Christians. And you know what? I kind of believe them sometimes. Because when you break out of it, you want to know the inner workings of it and the ins and outs of it. You want to research it and see how the heck does this work so well?
You want to understand how the heck it works so well, but also when you're in it, usually, at least for me, like I just wanted to know the truth. And I ended up studying a lot more of the Bible than a lot of people around me did, because I wanted to ask the hard questions, and they don't want you to ask the hard questions in these society or these closed societies because it's inconvenient to the structure.
Yes, and they concern
people are asking questions, the sustainability goes down.
Yes, and they concern troll you and they say, Adam, I feel as though you may be straying.
Yeah.
Yeah. I fear for your soul, Adam. Your eternal soul. Have you considered this? And yet you carry on because there's something driving you underneath that's like, no, this isn't real and you're lying and you don't care. Well,
you bring up Bryce Blankenagel, and his analogy was the cognitive dissonance of it is basically like you go through your life and something doesn't sit right, and you assume, well, that's just me misunderstanding, so you take that and you put it up on the shelf. And then after many, many years of taking these cognitive dissonance elements and putting them up on the shelf, that shelf will one day come crashing down because it doesn't hold up to your baseline common sense.
Right.
So I think that's part of the cult element is you want to believe it.
Right.
You want to believe that the answers are here, and you want it so bad that you will work 14-hour shifts on a shitty boat in the middle of the Mediterranean for a sun-drenched alcoholic who comes out at dinner and tells you about the spaceships up beyond the stars.
Yeah. Yeah. Do we want to go to the notes?
Yeah.
Okay. We get that.
Did we establish what we're doing here or what we wanted to try and do?
Well, what do we want to try to do? I was pretty sure we were just talking about cults and cult hopping.
So I had this stupid idea today. I was like, so I have all these notes that we've been referencing, and we referenced for our first episode where we did talk about cults. And I wanted to see if we could just make one up on the air. Like just invent a cult.
Okay. How should we proceed?
So I my idea was we build a cult around the idea of the shape store.
That's perfect. News Fist will fall for this immediately.
Okay. So, let's think about it. So the formation and sustaining elements of destructive cults. Number one, isolation of members. Create a small world for them to live in with its own rules dictated by the leader. So obviously our small world is the shape store. It's underground. It's full of bright colors and dodecahedrons, triangles, pyramids, cubes, maybe even spheres.
This sounds great.
It's like, yeah, it's like a Chuck E. Cheese, except there's no pizza. So yeah, if we're gonna isolate our members, so it's not necessarily the building. We need to keep their minds within a box, right?
Yeah. I'm just going to space these out so we don't get distracted by that other stuff.
That's fair. So how would you isolate members of the shape store?
Oh, I would sell them exclusive shapes. You can only get
That's a
these
good
shapes
idea.
here made of a certain material, or I'd grade them, right? So I'd say this is a graded dodecahedron. It's an official shape store merchandise, right?
Yeah. But you could also invent your own language around it, or your own currency in a sense, where you don't purchase the shape outright. You have to earn it through sacrifice or through fealty or demonstrations of faith.
So easy. You just make it exclusive and you do a midnight release.
Yeah, limited release.
That sounds like some cults, now doesn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean, I've seen even like Joel Osteen or any of those televangelists like shilling like special Bibles.
Right.
So let's take a step back though. So the ruler of, or the leader of shapeism would answer only to Yakub,
Okay.
right?
Right.
So Yakub is the supreme being. And then what should we name the leader?
Shapistopheles. Okay, I'm gonna write that down. Shapistopheles.
I know there's a let's see.
Ben Shapiro.
Ben Shapiro. It was David Koresh, David Kubash, David Corner. I don't know.
Konesh.
There's got to be a good shape pun that we can fit over a cult leader's name.
Okay, let's just call it Shapistopheles so we can move forward here. Leader is Shapistopheles.
Shapistopheles is a charismatic lifetime bullshitter. He wears a colorful suit.
Like Jordan Peterson.
Yes. And yeah, it's like colored right down the center. He is simultaneously your best friend and your worst enemy.
Best friend and worst enemy. Okay. Yeah, that checks out.
So usually like these leaders are narcissists. You know, that was one thing Mackmore said too, was that there isn't always like a charismatic leader. Like and that was one thing we identified with cryontology, is that the leader is the group.
Yes. Shapistopheles is the figurehead. Okay.
So, we're putting all this under isolation of members. So
we can put that somewhere else.
That's fine. Shapistopheles, he has a central temple, like the biggest shape store.
Okay. I'm just going to put Stopheles has the biggest shape store. Okay.
It's like the central hub.
Central hub, temple, gathering place. Okay.
Yeah, in Scientology, that was I think the celebrity center was like the center of it all.
Yeah.
Um, even
Okay.
though LRH was living in a van down by the river, toward the end there, and then
Yeah.
David Miscavige, power grab. Oh, shoot. I dropped something.
You drop your shape.
I dropped my shapes. Why can't I hold all these shapes? Okay, so you aren't allowed to talk to anybody who isn't a member of the Shape Store
Okay. So
because they are misshapen.
not allowed to talk to anyone who isn't a member. Yeah. Okay.
You give them a superiority complex over people who aren't part of the Shape Store.
Okay. Give them a superiority complex and slang, I would say, for non-members, right? Like in bigger cults, they would call it like the uninitiated, the unbegun, the dead,
Infidel,
yeah,
suppressive persons,
person.
So they have a superiority complex that they also need to be isolated, continue the isolation. So they can't talk to anybody who isn't a member. They have superiority complex and an othering for outsiders. They also shouldn't be able to consume any information that is not shape related.
Okay. Okay.
This feels too easy.
It is easy from the outside. It's making this work that's the tricky balance beam part. It's a very long, thin shape.
Shapeistophiles should also have exclusive access to the words of Yakub. So everybody has to depend on him to interpret the divine message.
Okay. All right, and you could see this in certain Protestant style cults where it's like they're receiving visions or having dreams or they're visited by an angelic figure, right?
Yeah, or they have a revelation.
Yeah, or revelation. Yeah.
I went to a Southern Baptist church for a minute where every now and then, the pastor would just stop in the middle of his sermon and like look towards heaven and just start talking to God.
Okay.
And then he'd present that to the congregation. It's very strange. Okay, what's the next bit? Because we've got our members isolated, we got our cult leader.
We're going to establish exit costs. Okay.
So if you leave the Shape Store, you can't talk to anybody else who's still in the Shape Store.
If you leave, you become ostracized and shapeless, formless and void. Yeah. You become like a point instead of a a
well-defined shape.
Yeah. The shape has left you.
Exit costs could also be like, in a more extreme example, like maybe you depend on the Shape Store for housing.
Let's see. Dependency on Shape Store for housing. Will be homeless and friendless.
Yeah. Also you needed to have a threat of hell or like annihilation of some kind.
Yeah, and not just like death, but like eternal destruction and torment.
Yeah.
Something like that. I'm starting to think that our Shape Store might lack this.
What, we need to have an annihilation?
Yeah, because like if you leave a Shape Store or you leave a brand, the exit cost is, well, like if you're an Apple person, you have to get an Android and learn how that works, and it no longer works with your MacBook and your iPad, and your contacts get out of sync and all that stuff. And like that sucks, but you can still leave. The exit cost for a cult is if you leave, you're going to experience Armageddon without the light, And then when Armageddon's over, God's going to judge you for every little thing you did, and you won't have a hope in the world. And then it's not just the sweet release of, shapelessness. It's shapelessness forever. All of your points are torn in every direction until you become, utterly deformed again and again and again, or something like that. It's like, this is where the cell happens, right? Like this is why you've got to have that fire and brimstone message to scare people into going, oh, I don't want that to happen to me. Even better if the person is raised on this,
Mm-hmm. And I guess the other aspect of that too would be our day will come someday.
Yeah.
So they have
we
that
lose down here.
No, what I'm thinking of is like the end times aspect of like, well, all the shapeless ones are going to get burned in fire, but we're going to go to heaven.
Yeah. All the shapeless ones we'll see. Every knee
you
will
could
bow. Yeah.
You can spin that like pretty much, yeah. It feels like most religions kind of have like this promise that someday, it's all going to go our way.
Yep, you're gonna,
and you really want to be a part of that.
Yes, and then it just goes on and on and on, and it never happens. And just like the Millerites, the prediction for the end of the world just keeps shifting. A few years down the line, a few weeks down the line, a few more years down the line. Yeah.
So you won't be a part. This will be an exit cost. You won't be a part of paradise. And paradise is the greatest thing you can imagine. Like, you think the shape store is cool.
Yeah.
Like, wait till you see the shape kingdom.
Yeah.
So it's like there's a promise of a big reward, an eternal reward.
Okay. All right. Should we move on to the next one?
Yep.
Okay. I got this. Hold on. Okay, so we got debility, deception, and dread.
Okay, so this is the perfectionism aspect of it. And this is what Scientologists are always looking for with the e-meters and the body thetans, is they're trying to find every little piece of impurity that would keep them from getting that eternal reward and will promise damnation, which is incredibly schizophrenic.
Yes.
So you kind of instill a minor form of schizophrenia in the members.
Yes.
By convincing them that there is something eternally wrong with them. It's their fault and they need the cult to escape it.
Yes. Okay. So there is something wrong with you and you know it. We know it. And you need us in order to be free of it. But they also, so like it's like the one guy said in Going Clear, he said they took the problem out and they satisfied the reason he went in, and then they replaced it with another problem, which was now he's in a cult. And it was a different mechanism of control, and he was worse than when he went in.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, and it's invisible.
Oh yeah, it's invisible.
Yeah, and it's invisible. Yeah. Okay.
You need us to see it.
Yes, you need our therapy person or priest or whatever. I think one of the funniest memes I ever saw was like they replaced the confession where you go and you tell an old man your sins with going and telling your childhood trauma to a woman who voted for Hillary Clinton.
And they write it down.
And they write it down and record it, which is what the Scientologists do.
Yeah, that's blackmail.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I guess you could consider that in cults where it's a closed society where everybody kind of knows the gossip, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I think Scientology is by far the most egregious example of that.
Sure. But they all end literally up doing this kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So blackmail's a good one. And yeah, I think we kind of nailed that one, really. It's just something is wrong with you. You know it. We know it. And you need us, me, and my Shapistopheles direct connection with Yakub if you ever want to be forgiven.
Yeah, that's why I added debt or bill. So, like, if you leave, we'll talk about you while you're gone. We'll tell other people what you did, and we'll make stuff up. And Like if you come back later or you encounter them later, people from inside the cult look at you as like the worst person ever. It's a little bit like Snowball in Animal Farm.
Yeah,
Like, Snowball didn't do anything, and he became, the mustache man of the story because for years after he left, he was smeared and tortured by PR within the farm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If there's something I was going to add to that. Yeah, it's interesting. Like when people get out of cults, usually, and I think it's varying degrees of, punishment from the society. Like Scientology, obviously, and they'll follow you around. They'll collect all your data on the internet. They'll sue you into oblivion if they feel like it.
Right.
So that's a really like extreme, dangerous example. But like even on a smaller scale, it's like if you leave. Mormonism, totally a cult. I'm not going to recognize that as a major religion, but if you leave, you're leaving a comfy society. And every time you visit your family, they're just going to have to look at you like, oh, what a disappointment. We feel so sorry for you. If only you could see it our way.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of, it's not like, oh, you're going to hell. It's just like, it's like a guilt trip.
Yeah, but that's always under the surface where they look at you like there's something that you're like an unfortunate soul outside of the realm of their protection. But underneath all of it, this usually degenerates into a hatred for you.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, nobody wants to, well, I shouldn't say nobody, but most people don't like to see their family members in pain. So that's another threat, really, is like you have to see your dear grandmother worry about your soul going to hell and whether or not she did anything, like did enough.
Right.
So that continues like that dread aspect. Like, what was wrong with me? I've done everything right. And yet, Bryce still left.
Yeah.
So that works best, for people who are still in the box, right?
Right. Should we move on?
Let's keep moving. Yeah.
So suppress all doubt.
You can't say anything bad about the shape store.
Yeah.
You can't say, I wish the shapes were bigger. I wish there were more red ones. You can't say anything like that.
Yeah. It's like, it's nice. It's like, I like the red one. You get a red one for Christmas and you wanted a green one. I like this one. It's even better than the green one. And this is something you would hear all the time, like in evangelical circles, is like their favorite thing in the world to do was to do things for free, like, working around the church or doing charity work. No one likes doing that stuff, but it affords them a little bit of virtue if they can say, yeah, my favorite thing of all time is, sleeping in a tent or in a unair conditioned shed somewhere in Texas while we all work on this, charity thing. That's part of the burden, right?
Yeah. So doubt, suppress all doubt, no questioning of the leader whatsoever. So, I mean, that's obvious. Like, you can't question Shapistopheles.
Yeah.
I mean, he knows everything. He's got the direct line to Yakub. So even thinking about that, Yakub's going to see that. And just even asking questions, even thinking in a different way is a mortal sin.
Yeah.
So even when you're a part of, like, say, for example, you're a part of a cult that has a lot of, like, meetings. And even when you're in them as a child, you're like, this is boring. Why do we have to do this?
Oh yeah. Been there.
That question can't be asked. And if you ask it as a child, like, that's eternally on you. So no doubt allowed, because how could you, like, why would you question this perfect shape store? They're all here.
Aren't
all
you
the
grateful?
shapes they even got a ball pit, right?
Yeah.
Like, aren't you lucky? If you had any idea how lucky you are to be part of this group, you wouldn't be asking these questions.
Mm-hmm. Our religion is right. Thank God you were born into it. You know?
Yeah.
Because look out there, like, especially if it's like a tiny, very insular cult, it's like the entire world of, however many billion people they say are on the planet. You got it right with the 30 people in your tiny little church building that used to be a Pizza Hut.
Well, that's part of the persecution complex, which
Yeah.
is another great way to make the members feel special.
Yeah. Do we need to add any notes
also,
here?
Not really. I think suppress all doubt's pretty obvious.
All right, we'll move to the next one then.
If you ask questions in the shape store, they throw you in the ball pit and everybody laughs at you.
Okay. Black and white thinking only.
Black and white thinking only. You only get. This is, again, suppression of information. They don't want you to think any other way besides eternal hell or eternal glory.
Yeah. Let's say thinking in terms of utter and constricting permanence. I can write.
Man, you also said something that could go in with this pretty well. Black and white thinking only. How would that be enforced in the shape store?
Oh, well, it's simple. It's like, oh, I want to do something else. Well, you want to take your shape with you, don't you? No, I don't really feel like taking the shape. What? You want to go?
Everybody takes shapes with them.
Everybody carries a shape in their pocket. What are you ashamed of having a shape? Are you ashamed of our holy sphere? You should wear it loud and proud. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Black and white thinking only. So you have to cut out all nuance.
No, there's no. Yeah, exactly. It's easy. This is why it's tricky, right? It cuts everything down to a single variable. Right?
Yeah. Well, it also every single issue, any questions you have, every thought you have is immediately taken to the highest court in the universe.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah, there's no traffic court.
No, I mean, like even the thinking about does this need to go to the highest court is enough of a sin for it to go to the highest court. Because the black and white is basically like everything that you think, everything that you do is either it's binary. You're damned or you are saved.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know if we need to add anything else to that one.
All right, let's move on then. So we're on all impurity in the cult must be sought out and eliminated. A never-ending cycle of scrutiny of your sin, body thetans, or internal sins, invention of new impurities to justify further examination, elimination of agency, debilitation, deception, dread of never becoming pure. And it's a moving target. This is where I want to bring in political cults. This is why communists and people of that ilk have struggle sessions and purity tests, and it's constantly changing. And you could be on the good side at one point in your life, like the old guard in the original revolution in the Soviet Union. And then by the time you're about to turn 80, they drag you out into a street and put you in a truck. Right?
Yeah.
That's because it's a moving target.
Yeah. So again, it's that schizophrenic nature. So all impurity in the cult must be sought out and eliminated. That's within you, but it's also your job to find it in others.
Mm-hmm.
So in the shape store, they would have to have some kind of confessional ritual or virtue signals. So like Yakub worship sessions, for example, like say you aren't singing loud enough, or you didn't put your hands in the air like everybody else.
Yeah.
That's a signal that you're getting off base.
Yeah. And a grown-up notices you and approaches you later after dinner.
Yeah.
Pulls you aside. Yeah. Sitting there.
You're not looking very shapely there, Adam.
Yeah. I sense your spheres are less round these days.
um, um, so yeah, there would need to be, so there'd be like a program in everybody to sort of seek out the shapeless within other members. They would have some kind of system of, what do they call it? Rehabilitation.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to go to, like what they call it in Scientology, gold base, or they had the hole.
Yeah.
So that was like an extreme rehabilitation chamber.
Yep.
Where basically they send you there for a few reasons. But I think number one is to either force you to double down on the belief system or go into that swirling headspace of I must be so screwed up. I'm here. This is good for me.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the Shape Store could have a isolation rehabilitation center.
Yeah.
Where they give you Play-Doh and you have to make shapes out of the Play-Doh from memory until you can perfectly model a dodecahedron with your eyes shut.
I guess I just imagine them putting people on like a taffy puller and like stretching them at every say. Are you feeling shapely now? Something like that. As stupid as that sounds. I mean, it's like the forcing of the confession, right? In communist countries in the Soviet Union. It's like, and also in 1984, you can't just say it. You can't just confess to the crime. You need to believe that you did it. And they'll break you until you actually do. And then they're satisfied. And even then, they might still roll you out into the woods and shape you into a hole,
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing is the more extreme the cult, the more powerful they are psychically. Like they can make you create memories that you don't have under extreme pressure.
Yes, that's exactly right. It's exactly right.
It's what they did with the Satanic Panic. They convinced children via positive feedback to make these stories that were more and more crazy. Like what was the book Sophie Remembers? Is that what it was called? Something?
Oh, I don't remember.
Whatever. Yeah, I mean like
Sophie does.
Yeah,
yes.
Under extreme duress and when you are so thoroughly in the box, the psychological powers that be, the leader or the other congregants, can invent a hallucinatory memory. So,
yeah, they can Mandela affect you.
Okay.
One quick note. We're not saying the Satanic Panic, there was nothing to it. That's not at all. Not at all. But some of the interrogations had this effect. So,
yep. Thank you for that.
Yep.
We should always be freaking out about Satanists.
And then this is the last one.
Sense of impending doom so thorough it can't be escaped. So there is a great shapening.
Oh, yes.
Just over the horizon. It could happen at any time, and you want to be ready.
Yeah. Yeah. And they reinforce that over and over and over again. The shape-pocalypse. Yeah. The shapocalypse.
I feel like I'm missing out on some really good puns today. I'm just not. All this wildfire smoke is like killed my neurons. I can't pun today. Yeah.
All right. I'm the same way. But hey, we're taking it easy this week, right? We're flying by the seat of our pants on this one because we didn't want to leave people with nothing. I'm on half vacation right now. But anyway, so let's run through these real quick. Let's take a look at our list. I'm going to get rid of these page breaks so we can look at them all together. Because what we're trying to talk about is not the things that get a bad rap. Like there's the heavy hitters, the obvious ones like Scientology. But like I was saying at the beginning, a lot of these techniques, maybe all of these techniques, have been used by major companies and governments and ideologically motivated peoples, shall we say? to control you. And you can look at the inside, you can look into a cult and you can be like, oh, how did those stupid people fall for that? My brother in Christ, you have been raised in one of these. Societies didn't always run like they were an MK Ultra experiment. That's new.
Well, and that's why cults are so dangerous to be around, because a lot of times they're populated by highly educated people who, at a fundamental level, are still human beings with all the same wants, fears, and needs that everybody else has.
Yeah.
So it's like, wow, this guy has a doctorate and he became a Scientologist. It's like, yeah, of course he did. He's a human. You know, it's like we can laugh at him all we want, but I guarantee we'd all be very surprised if we went and took a course at a Scientology center, how differently we'd feel about it by the time we left. We'd be like, oh, I kind of see their point.
The other part of it is that smart people will be able to follow the logic.
Yes.
And they'll find themselves defending it if you slip in a couple of like, well, of course you believe in this kind of thing, right? Well, yes, I suppose I do. They slip in those little precepts, and then a smart person, a high IQ person, for example, will be able to find themselves finding reasons to believe it. And like, again, look no further than the education system that we live in now. You go through it, and most of the time, probably 80% of the time, people come out brainwashed, obviously. And it's the weirdo loners who usually are the ones who can typically say they don't.
Yeah, I think part of it too is like, if you're highly educated, you are much more likely to have been a part of an in-group already. Like whether that's your special boy classes in high school, or, you know, like you go to a university and you're in like a, you know, a special group of highly accomplished students or whatever. You're also generally have the skills to defend bullshit.
Yes.
So I think it works a little different. Like when you're highly educated, you get educated and you get sucked into a cult, versus your low IQ and you get sucked into a cult.
Well, a high IQ. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
It doesn't matter your IQ level. Like these rules can fool just about anybody if it's brought with the right seasoning.
Right. And a high IQ person, really what that means, if they're already in the cult mind, is they can learn the lore in a lot more detail than a person who just doesn't have an interest in reading as much. Right?
Well, and that's where the insulated community comes in too, because the more time you spend around them, the more you're going to be absorbing that othering of the outside world. So you're just going to want to spend more time where you feel safe, even if you have an intense cognitive dissonance and unease while you're with the cult. You'll just play that off as, oh, that's just me not doing enough.
Yep. So I feel like we're coming up to this next clip. Do you want to talk about it a little bit, lead it in, or?
Yeah, I'll explain it a little bit. I mean, I'm sure a bunch of people have heard this clip. It's a classic. But in the context of cult think and what it feels like to be stuck in your own mind, this classic speech came to my mind, because usually when we think about this, we're thinking about something else. And I'll talk more about it when it's over. But just listen to this and think about what it is to be trapped in your own mind.
From this distant vantage point, the Earth might not seem of any particular interest. But for us, it's different. Consider again that dot. That's here. That's home. That's us. On it, everyone you love, everyone you know, everyone you ever heard of, every human being who ever was, lived out their lives. The aggregate of our joy and suffering, thousands of confident religions, ideologies, and economic doctrines, every hunter and forager, every hero and coward, every creator and destroyer of civilization, every king and peasant, every young couple in love, every mother and father, hopeful child, inventor and explorer, every teacher of morals, every corrupt politician, every superstar, every supreme leader, every saint and sinner in the history of our species lived there, on a mote of dust, suspended in a sunbeam. The Earth is a very small stage in a vast cosmic arena. Think of the rivers of blood spilled by all those generals and emperors, so that in glory and triumph they could become the momentary masters of a fraction of a dot. Think of the endless cruelties visited by the inhabitants of one corner of this pixel on the scarcely distinguishable inhabitants of some other corner. How frequent their misunderstandings, how eager they are to kill one another, how fervent their hatreds. Our posturings, our imagined self-importance, the delusion that we have some privileged position in the universe, are challenged by this point of pale light. Our planet is a lonely speck in the great enveloping cosmic dark. In our obscurity, in all this vastness, there is no hint that help will come from elsewhere to save us from ourselves. The Earth is the only world known so far to harbor life. There is nowhere else, at least in the near future, to which our species could migrate. Visit? Yes. Settle? Not yet. Like it or not, for the moment, the Earth is where we make our stand. It has been said that astronomy is a humbling and character-building experience. There is perhaps no better demonstration of the folly of human conceits than this distant image of our tiny world. To me, it underscores our responsibility to deal more kindly with one another and to preserve and cherish the pale blue dot, the only home we've ever known.
Okay. Classic, right?
Yes.
There's a couple of things about it. Number one, this is the cult of scientism.
Yes.
Number two, I can't think of a better metaphor for what it feels like to be in a cult.
Yes.
You are this point of light behind your eyes, and they want you to stay there. Does that make sense?
Oh, dude, yes. This is exactly right.
And let's just think about flat Earth for a second, because that is also a minor cult. Their whole point is that the impetus of that quote unquote movement was the rejection of this idea that we're all trapped in this one place and that nobody cares about us, and that all that matters is we think about this tiny point of light, which is the Shape Store cult, and the vastness outside is terrifying and scary, and don't you just want to worry about what goes on in this small place?
Yeah.
Did you have any thoughts on it?
It's limiting. It's everything that it matters is inside of these four walls, and there's nothing you can do to escape that. He tells you to see things in your head. He tells you to picture corrupt politicians and barbarians fighting for a scratch, or not a scratch, but a stretch of the pale blue dot. He goes, everyone you've ever known who has lived or died, it happened on this pale blue dot, this mote of dust in a sunbeam. It's shrinking you. And what it's relying on is your sense of scale. It's saying, it's pretty big, isn't it? Well, you thought it was big because you're very small. And the only thing that can save you, and you could see this, it's like it's even got the music underneath it that you'd hear at a church service.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's Evangelist, same guy who did the soundtrack for Chariots of Fire. But yeah, I pointed out on that one, and Aaron played it on the live stream, but not everybody got to see that. And I said it last time, but that one guy on Going Clear who points, he says you get stuck somewhere behind your eyeballs looking inward. And that's what this framing is. They want to put you in a box, and they want you to only worry about that box because that box is what they can control.
Right. And you might wonder how this connects to the world that we live in. It's pretty obvious that they want you thinking about very specific things all the time because they seem to obsess over them. They want to bind your mind in a way that everything has to be through a certain frame or a certain lens. And it's obvious now, right? Like it sounds like almost trite to say woke is a cult at this point, right? Everybody's heard that. But when you look at how it was established and what they did with themselves, with the struggle sessions is an obvious example, but the obvious lack of principle, the violence toward the outgroup, the dressing up in academic language and empathetic language. Oh, we just care about other people. I don't know how you can look at that and not see Scientology with a different color, a different coat of paint. Right? It's the same thing. Like Scientology, you hear some of the pitches that people were given in Going Clear, and it's like, we want to fix the world. We want to create a world with no suffering. And everyone goes, that sounds pretty good. It sounds good.
Everybody wants to be part of a group. And I shouldn't say everybody, but it's just as fundamental of a human trait to want to be part of the group because it's a survival mechanism. So when they convince you that they're the only group that knows what's going on, well, of course, you want to be a part of that group. You want to be saved from annihilation, right?
You want to be on the right side of history.
Yeah.
And they even have their own lore and creation myths. Like, we make fun of Yakub, but that's not actually far off from how some of these people think. It's insanity. It's utter insanity, and it's destructive. You even see many of its members suffering against their better judgment just to stay in.
This might be the Gnostic code that revolts us about when we did the Gnosticism episode, because this is such a base code. It's within all of us, and that's that can be seen as like a unifier, and it can also be seen as very scary, because I don't think all people who are in cults are stupid. They've just been put in a box. They've allowed themselves and have been encouraged to stay in that box because leaving is terrifying. And you're in the vastness of empty space where you have to be the creator.
Yeah.
Because there isn't a guy there doing it for you.
It's crazy how well this works. Actually, Sam Tripoli put up a post today about the Odyssey movie, and he liked it. He thought it was a pretty good movie. And he said, all of you people pissed off about this movie are proving that Nolan's marketing campaign worked. All he had to do was tell you that he'd cast Elliot Page as Achilles, and you believed it, and you screamed about it for 2 months. And now the movie's selling out and people are saying it's actually pretty good or whatever. And I posted on, I said, Sam's right. And you're mad because you don't want to believe it was that simple.
Yeah. Oh, it's humiliating.
It's humiliating. So they'll just double down and say, the Rotten Tomato reviews, the Metacritic reviews, all these people are lying or bought it or shit. people might have actually enjoyed going to the movie. I haven't seen it. I don't have an opinion on it. I saw all this rage about it, and it was, I'm not going to lie, it was kind of cringy how insistent people were that this was the wokest movie ever made. And I'm like, you realize that in order to get Oscar nominations, Christopher Nolan had to make some of these casting decisions. Otherwise, he wouldn't sweep, which is what it's clear he's planning to do. Oh, well, it sounds like you're on the side of it or you're defending it. Dude, I'm just telling you the facts. That's it. That's why it happened. But
it's a business. And I think the multi-level, I again, like when I talked about industrial design, there are so many minds thinking about things that you just noticed, and they've been thinking about it and planning it for years. It's been through multiple meetings. It's been through multiple lines of approval and scrutiny. Of course, it's a marketing scheme. Well, how are we going to get around all these YouTubers that are crying woke about everything? Well, let's just make the most complex version of it they've seen yet. We'll throw some elements in there to piss them off, and then
they'll be wrong and they'll look stupid.
Yeah, I don't really want to end talking about movies.
I know.
But I think, I think my overall point with this, we're all capable of falling into it. We all have fallen into it to some degree. If you love Xbox and hate PlayStation, you're part of it.
Yeah.
If you love one sports team, hate another sports team, you're part of it.
Mm-hmm.
If you like a brand of soda versus another, you're part of this because this is base code.
Yes.
So judge not lest ye be judged.
Yeah. And we have one last clip here. Do you want to cue this up at all?
Not really. I just think that this clip has been pretty poignant for me in terms of what it is to break out of a box.
It's been, you've sent this to me. Yeah, we'll just play this and that'll be it. And we'll see you next week with an ordinary episode of the Clowntown Chronicle. Everybody, have a great week.
It sometimes feels like life is trying to fit you in a box. School is putting you in a box. Your job is putting you in a box. Your insurance company is putting you in a box. Maybe you don't fit in this box. Maybe you don't want to be in this box at all. And the only way out is the dark road. It's not an easy decision to take. It's not an easy road to walk. But the feeling of being trapped in a box is just... So you venture into the dark. And it turns out that the dark doesn't hurt. Your eyes adjust and you see where the road is leading. It often leads to a point where you have to take a leap of faith or go back to the box. So you jump. The faith bit is not so much in the leaping. It's in the landing. The space between them can feel forever. But when you land, and you will, you'll learn that the landing teaches you to fly.